I'm Sam Slater from Fund Calibre, and today I've been joined by Ketan Patel, co-manager of EdenTree Responsible and Sustainable UK Equity Fund. Hi, Ketan.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So you spoke on our Investing on the Go podcast last year, and we touched on the subject then of fast fashion and the value chain there. You've got Next in your top 10 now. Do you not class that as fast fashion?
No. And for us, fast fashion has two things. It's cheap and it's disposable. Next products aren't. Years ago, and I know a lot about fashion, sadly, my mum was a seamstress, so I have a real insight into this. Fast fashion used to have 4 actual seasons back in the day. You know, when you went to the shop, etc. Now it's very, very, very fluid because the supply chain has become so extraordinarily flexible. The one thing I would say about Next, it's been around since the mid 1860s. So it's not a new company. It's not the likes of Sosandar, Quiz, Boohoo, ASOS being another good example of fast fashion, or Primark, which is owned by ABB. This company employs 40,000 employees. 70% of them are women. 1.4 million workers are across their supply chain. So this is not fast fashion. This is what you call a fashion company, which is also going into homeware as well. So when Simon Wilson, who's now been, I think, the longest serving CEO of a FTSE 100 company, what he did many years ago in 1988 was when he launched Next Directory. He invested so much in technology, etc. You can now get delivery on a daily basis, 1-day delivery, etc. Returns are great. The shop's fan. Next has survived since 1986 when it was named as Next. It's fast fashion doesn't do this. One of the things that Boohoo failed massively on the ES and the G was it hadn't signed up to the ethical trading initiative, which is everyone does. It was spun out of private equity, dominant CEO, founder, board that was particularly weak, still is, and they got caught out badly in what happened in Leicester. Leicester's an open secret. It's still going on. I mean, Boohoo, I know, tried to redress the issues, and they've gone some way, but fast fashion is toxic. Toxic in several ways, chemicals in particular, water use, but the worst part is how they exploit employees, and most of them are female from a minority. The thing about Next, which we like, is its supply chain is very, very transparent. We're talking about Turkey, China, Vietnam, etc. I mean, one of the things we look for is how many of the factories in which your clothing was manufactured was audited. In the case of Next, it's 98% in 2019. 96% of all its branded products come from compliant factories. And having an overseas supply chain means you're audited a lot more frequently. In the UK, the assumption Leicester, well, then it's Leicester, it's fine, it's the UK. We're not going to have the issues of slavery or paying people £1.20 per hour, stuff like that. Just you think it's never going to happen. And when it came out, the scandal was very, very shocking to a lot of them. Hang on, this is Leicester. It's not Vietnam or Bangladesh, etc. And the other part is, if I was going to ask the same questions which I did to do when they did float in 2014. This is after the Rana Plaza disaster, and it failed. One of the questions was, how do you justify the economics of a £2 T-shirt? They can't. No one can, fundamentally. The other part is, do you know where your cotton's coming? So cotton is a big single input factor into fashion. There's issues of cotton in parts of Uzbekistan. China controls most of the cotton production in the world. There's a lot of child labor in it and slave labor as well. We've seen the stuff with the Muslim community in the north of China being exploited. For Next, they've set the challenge. 90% of the cotton is going to be sourced responsibly by 2025, not by 2050, by 2025. There's no they have a strong animal welfare policy. There's no real fur. All their feathers and etc. are responsibly sourced. Electricity, 100% of the UK is renewable. And the consumption is 27% lower than it was in 2007. That's 14 years ago. This is a real good example of a good, strong, well-tenured CEO running his company for the benefit of not just his employees, but also suppliers and most importantly, customers. Now, I cannot make such a case for the likes of Boohoo, ASOS, Sosandar, but I can make a case for Next. I would say Dunelm is high quality. Zara, which is listed through Inditex, and that's an extraordinary story of a couple in the late 70s, Ortega, in a very, very small town in northern Spain, creating this incredible business, which is high quality. I'd say M&S, which we don't invest in because we think it's structurally challenged, has also got a good program. Gap, less so. And I think that the companies who got caught out in the Rana Plaza issue in 2013, none of our companies did, and there's a reason why. So our job is to do this intensely from an RI perspective, and fund managers are engaged. And that means when clients invest in our portfolios, they will have a better night's sleep knowing that we are not going to be the next boohoo. They're going to wake up with a scandal. He says I'm touching a lot of wood, although most of the wood in the office is MDF now, by the way. But you know what I mean? It's important to us. And that should resonate full stop. And in fact, all your fund managers should be like this. They should be really engaged and say, listen, I care about this. And from my perspective on Boohoo, I really hope that does change because, we as stewards of capital need to encourage companies. One of the questions I'm asked, should you invest in Boohoo and try and make a change? And I said, well, unfortunately, to make a change in Boohoo, they would have to stop being a fast fashion house. And if they do that, then they can't compete fundamentally. So that's the issue for us is we want to invest in good companies and more importantly, avoid those companies which don't meet our criteria so the portfolio is cleaner.
That was so interesting. Thank you. It's always fascinating to talk with you.
Thank you. You're very, very kind.
And if you'd like to find out more about the EdenTree Responsible and Sustainable UK Equity Fund, please go to fundcalibre.com.